So what is the hottest item selling right now on eBay? What's just flying off the hook, and what should everybody out there be looking for wherever you go? Hey, it's Don. Today I wanted to address one of the biggest questions I'm asked this time every single year for the last 10 or 15 years. What's the hottest thing out there that's selling across the board on eBay that I need to be selling? Well, first you have to think about what the hottest item is and why it's the hottest item. Most of the hottest items out there are going to be new items, made by the thousands, tens of thousands, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 case units of these items are going to be sold all the time. They're going to be the hottest item because they're selling all the time, constantly, over and over and over and over again, across the board at every site, and it has a huge draw of people who are trying to purchase this item. It's new, it's hot, it's the latest thing that everybody has to have. Now, who's going to be selling these huge items? Maybe it's from a movie, the hottest movie of the year, a collectible, an action figure, a Lego set. Who's going to be selling those? Well, chances are the manufacturer, such as Lego itself, main distributors, toy companies, manufacturers, and the whole works. Companies that crank these things out and have copyrights and patents and veros across the board on most of the merchandise selling, especially if you're going to sell it new, which is what most people are going to want if it just came out. Now, for me personally, what I would always recommend is to not worry about what's the hottest selling item on eBay or any other site right now, because 95, 98, 99% of all of those hot items I can never get, and neither can the vast majority of people out there. Now, there's some exceptions. Retail arbitrage, RA. Now, with RA, retail arbitrage, I can go to Walmart or wherever the case may be. If there are some toy stores out there that may have bulk inventory or be on sale but still be hot online, I can buy it from the store. I can take some bulk quantity and sell it on Amazon as long as I'm ungated in that item. On eBay, it may be a different story. So you just have to think about how many of these items can you get? Where can you get the items? It doesn't matter at all what's the hottest selling thing to me, though, on eBay. It matters what's the hottest selling thing you personally can get without having to worry, fight, or run into any other issues. You could buy a bunch of an item and not check into it enough and get dinged because there's a Vero program on eBay that states you can't sell certain items because the copyright holder on those items are the only one that are technically allowed to sell them. So these are things you have to worry about, and again, the hottest selling items out there are usually copyright locked. They're, tied to a specific vendor, a movie, a Disney thing, a Fox Entertainment, Marvel, whatever. It's tied to one of those big franchises, and chances are you're not going to be able to get enough to make it worth your while to even think about the top best-selling item across the board on eBay or Amazon or wherever the heck it may be. Now, I've got some really hot items that I do extremely well with, but they're hot for me. If I grab them, I know I have purchasers for those items before I even get home with them. And that's a hot item to me. It's not the fastest selling item on eBay. It's not the highest selling item on eBay, because those sorts of items I don't find. I can't find in the competition, or they've been Vero'd, or I'm gated now for selling them. In the past, I could sell Legos by the bulk, or Mego. I could sell those all, new stock, the whole works. Wholesale deals were galore. I still have wholesale deals, but again, with most of the hottest items, I'm not up in the food chain high enough to be able to score 10,000 units of the hottest toy out there and get, good money and be able to make a profit. If I would be able to get them from wholesalers, it wouldn't be hardly anything in profit, and it wouldn't be worth my time or effort to do it. So that's why I say it's not really worth paying attention to what the hottest selling items are out there. You may run into one of them that's opened or something. The chances of running into the hottest toy out there at a thrift store. Garage sales right now up here where I live are just pretty much shut down. It's in the 40s outside right now. So, it's not the time of year where you can run into them used, where you can score a whole bunch of them. Most of the stores around here, even Walmart, have limited the amount of stock coming in for the last 2 or 3 years because of COVID. So they're not running a huge overstock of RA items. At least around here, I know there's still some folks that are doing very well with RA, but around here I'd have to be a road warrior and drive all over the place, and am not interested in doing that at all these days. I don't need to. I don't want to mess with it. So now, depending on the specific seller, you can make almost anything work and be a hot selling item. You can find multiples of some items. You can figure out a new keyword idea that can get it going. You can figure out a better market to market something, but almost anything has potential to be a good seller for you. Now, I'll show you in just a few minutes here a couple items that we picked up that for us are hot sellers. They'll be easy to move, no problems whatsoever, low competition, low investment into them, and that's what I consider a hot seller, a good item to purchase. I don't mess around with worrying about what everybody else sells. I worry about what sells for me. What can I personally grab? What's my knowledge base? Do I know where I can sell it? Do I know if it's correct? Is it original? Has it been broken? You have to know all those aspects of certain items so you can do better than other folks. And that's the best way to, have hot items all the time. Know what's in demand that you are personally able to acquire. What do you see when you're out in the wild? Is there a store that you know that you can get this item A or item B all the time? Is there a customer base that you know you'll be able to sell this to when you pick it up? And again, some of this is just going to take time to figure out. Wasting time on the hottest selling item that you're never going to run into won't do you very good. Knowing niches or routinely found items better than the person who's selling them will be better off for you and will turn those sorts of items into hot sellers for you. A vintage Barbie doll from the 60s, I know I can always find a seller for that, probably a half a dozen in the first couple hours of listing it. A vintage Star Wars figure, a Micronaut, Transformers, G.I. Joes, any of that sort of thing. I know I've got a customer base. I know those are hot items. Used out of the box, pieces, parts, they're hot. I can sell them. It won't be any issue whatsoever. Competition doesn't matter on vintage stuff for us, so that's what we push for our hot items. We haven't lost on a purchase we've made in at least a decade. And that's because I don't buy stuff if I don't know it. I do my homework, I do my research. I figure out what's the hottest stuff for me. What you need to do is figure out what's the hottest stuff for you. What can you easily sell? What easily flips for you? What can you easily keep finding, repeat finding? Now with clothing, for an example, retro is hot. That may be a hot thing for most people out there that are selling clothing. Most people I know don't sell clothing. I don't sell clothing because I can't get the valuable clothing. There's always some issue. There's always somebody else to beat me to it. So I just am not going to rat race that way. Competition as well is something else that can kill the whole game plan and crush you right off the bat. You buy a bunch of something, a bunch of other people buy the same thing, and you're competing with big sellers as well, and sometimes it doesn't always go very well. Now here's something I would consider a hot item. Now I got it at Goodwill just the other day for $6. Now most people probably thought this was just some tacky picture there that no one's going to really want, a hotel piece or anything else like that. But right off the bat I knew exactly what this was because these were made close to here, and I've run into 3 or 4 of these locally in the last 5 or 6 years. Now these are called Helmscapes, and what this actually is something that would have been made in the mid-mod century era, mid-1960s or so. And if you look, there's a little button right there. There's an on and off switch to turn this on. And these would have been something you could buy for the home, but I remember seeing these in restaurants when I was a child. Biggest giveaway obviously is the panel you see here, which has fluorescent tubes inside. There's 2 of them here. Now this one tube works, one doesn't, but the electronics, the wiring I should say, are still in solid working condition, which was key for one of these. The front facing is in very nice condition. No one picked this up and turned it around because they just assumed, again, it was an ugly picture. This is a hot item. Around here, I could sell this to a decorator, 75 bucks out the door, no problem whatsoever. We're gonna keep this one because last time I wanted to keep it and didn't have the space for it. I'm actually gonna keep it because it was 6 bucks. But I remember seeing these in pool halls, was another place you would see them. The same company made some ones for beer halls with beer logos on the front that lit up and the whole works. You could replace the middle. These do come apart, so you could actually replace the panel. So if you've got a panel from a beer one and you don't have the light up back plate for it or anything else like that, you can swap these out. People will buy them just for that reason. So to me, this is a hot pickup. I know it won't sit around very long. It's the right time of year to sell some of these decorative pieces. You know, again, decorators love this sort of thing. They look great in the wall in an office or something like that. One of the key factors on these that most people miss, even when they do see it and pick it up, usually it has the name of where the location is on the other side. These are real places. These are like travel scapes, I guess, helmscapes to some extent. And this one says Bear Lake, Colorado. So when it's got a number on it, now there's a catalog online that shows a vast variety of these that they actually made. And they made quite a few different versions of these. This company made a lot, a couple hundred at least from what I've seen in the past, different images. The better the image, the better it will sell for. These can easily go for hundreds of dollars if it's the right image on their waterfalls, like this one here, do extremely well. If you go to pick these up and it's really heavy, you know you got something because it's metal casing in the back, so there is some weight to this as well. This is just typical of the mid-mod century items. We do extremely well with these things. Hot items for sure. Anything mid-mod century that lights up and still works does great. Don't care really what it is. If it's something that looks nice on the wall, religious pieces do extremely well. Lenticular images, especially some of the religious with the metal frames. I've shown those. I have some in-house right now as well. All of that sort of thing is hot to me and does extremely well. Now another hot item, something I always look for, I always grab up if it's a decent price and a decent item, are art supplies. Like this right here, this is Winsor Newton's and this is oil bars. I don't know if they even make oil bars anymore, but every one I've ever had, I've gotten at least $15 per stick. Now, oil bars are just a big stick basically of oil paint with some thickener in it, in a tube, and you can just smear it right on the canvas, whatever you want to do. You can thin it down with some linseed oil or something, whatever is your preferred method, alkyd or something for paint like that. But these do extremely well. This is like a $60 set. I paid $5 for it at this new Goodwill over here. I think it's a Goodwill. It's a new thrift store. It's right next to Office Depot, which I do go into occasionally. Knowing what sells and what's hot for you, what you've had great success with, is the best thing to look for. And I always do extremely well with unused, even if the box is open, art supplies. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Ladies, prepare for action. Fire red, beautiful. Fire rose, so smooth. Fire peach, so creamy.
Beautiful.
New Laren Cosmetics are here with 23 new extra lush Laren colors.
So smooth, so creamy, so moist.
New from Laren to let you be
beautiful now.